An Oscar winner, Amy Madigan, Steve Buscemi, Ben Foster, multiple prestige TV actors, and all of them shoved into one pilot episode. Ryan Coogler's X-Files reboot hasn't even started filming properly yet, and it already feels like Hulu and Disney are panicking behind the scenes, because this casting announcement doesn't scream confidence, it screams, please watch this show. This feels like a studio that doesn't trust the script, doesn't trust the new leads, and is desperately hoping famous faces distract you long enough to get a season order. And honestly, the more details that come out about this reboot, the more this thing starts looking like pure corporate overcompensation. Let's watch this nonsense unfold. Now look, having guest stars in the X-Files is nothing new. The original show had loads of actors pop up before they became famous. But there's a massive difference between, hey, here's a talented actor in an episode, and let's stuff this pilot with so many recognisable faces the audience forgets to question the story. Because that's what this feels like. This isn't one guest actor or two, this is 8 major names for the pilot alone. That is insane. And the more you think about it, the weirder it gets. Because this reboot already has 2 respected lead actors. Danielle Deadwyler is an excellent dramatic actress. Himesh Patel is solid too. So if the studio truly believed these 2 could carry the reboot, why the need for this gigantic safety net? Why pack episode 1 with so many recognisable actors? Why make the pilot feel like a streaming awards show? Because modern Hollywood doesn't trust patience anymore. Everything has to trend immediately. Everything has to feel like an event. And honestly, that phrase alone tells you the problem. Event television. Corporate wording, algorithm wording, not storytelling wording. Let's do the math. A streaming pilot is what? 50 minutes? Maybe 60. Now think about what this episode has to accomplish. It has to introduce 2 brand new FBI agents, explain the new direction of the X-Files, establish modern conspiracies, set the tone, build atmosphere, introduce the mystery, introduce all these side characters, give the audience emotional investment, and somehow still feel creepy and focused. Good luck with that, because now add 8 guest stars into the middle of all that. This thing sounds overcrowded already, and honestly, that's where my concern starts kicking in hard. The original X-Files worked because it felt isolated, focused, quiet, atmospheric. Sometimes it was literally just Mulder and Scully walking through dark forests talking about weird nonsense. That simplicity mattered. The atmosphere mattered. The breathing room mattered. This reboot sounds like it's terrified of silence, terrified of slowing down, terrified the audience might get bored unless another famous actor suddenly appears on screen. That's not confidence, that's panic. Now, to be fair, I actually think I can see what Coogler might be trying to do here, and honestly, this might be the most interesting part of the whole thing, because this pilot sounds less like a normal episode and more like several storylines smashed together. You've apparently got indigenous community angles, government conspiracy angles, missing person investigation angles, corporate cover-up angles, and likely several factions colliding together. So structurally, this might actually be more like a mini-movie, possibly even a 2-part pilot, and honestly, that would explain the massive cast. But here's the problem. Even if that's true, it still feels like overcompensation, because when you trust your concept, you usually simplify, you focus, you build slowly. The original X-Files pilot wasn't trying to impress you with scale, it impressed people through mood, mystery, chemistry, tension. This reboot feels like it's trying to overwhelm you immediately, and that's usually what studios do when they're nervous. Throw more at the audience, more characters, more plot lines, more famous faces, more spectacle, more look how important this is, and sometimes that actually hides weak foundations. And honestly, this entire situation feels like a symptom of the streaming era itself, because modern streaming platforms are terrified. Shows get cancelled almost instantly now. No patience, no slow build, no give it time to find an audience. If a show doesn't explode online immediately, it's dead. So studios panic. They over-engineer everything. They stack casts. They overload pilots. They build everything around social media clips and thumbnails, and that's exactly what this feels like. This feels designed for marketing departments. Look everybody, Steve Buscemi is in the X-Files. Look everybody, Ben Foster, look everybody, prestige TV actors. Meanwhile, the actual core question becomes, do the leads even work together? Because that's the real issue. Mulder and Scully worked because the chemistry was lightning in a bottle. You cannot manufacture that through celebrity cameos. And honestly, the more stars you cram around new leads, the more it accidentally signals a lack of trust in them. It becomes distracting, like the studio itself is nervous, like they're saying, please don't leave after episode 1. And this brings me to the bigger issue. I'm not even convinced modern Hollywood understands why the X-Files worked anymore. Because it wasn't just aliens, or conspiracies, or monsters. It was atmosphere, isolation, paranoia, stillness, the feeling that weird things were happening just outside your understanding. The original show felt grounded, even when it got ridiculous. This reboot already feels louder, more polished, more corporate, more prestige streaming content, and honestly, that worries me far more than the casting itself. Because once franchises start feeling like an algorithm assembled them, you lose the soul. You lose the strange little imperfections that made them memorable. Everything starts feeling focus tested, safe, manufactured, and this pilot announcement, this feels heavily manufactured. But what do you think? Am I being too cynical here? Or does this giant pilot cast announcement genuinely feel like a massive red flag? Do you think Ryan Coogler actually has a brilliant layered mystery planned? Or does this feel like Hulu throwing every recognisable face they can find at the wall and hoping something sticks? And honestly, would you rather have a smaller, slower, atmosphere-driven X-Files reboot or this giant event television approach they seem to be building? Drop your thoughts below. I genuinely want to hear where people stand on this one. And if you enjoy dismantling bad writing, corporate panic, and streaming nonsense like this, hit like, subscribe, and stick around, because modern Hollywood keeps giving us material, and somehow the nonsense keeps unfolding.